and it was not having it today. So I had to go vertical. So I'll try again next week to go horizontal. I know several people have requested me to go horizontal, and I will try, but sometimes technology just doesn't work. So anyway, I am gonna get the workshop set up here, and then we will get started. I'm got lots of projects to work on today. So let me get set up, and then we will have a chat. Okay, I'm pretty much set up, so we'll have a little chat. Um, Try to get my iPad here. Again, I mean, I'm gonna try to get horizontal, um, but for some reason it just wasn't working this morning. So tried to go horizontal, and it told me that my rotation was, orientation was wrong. So they're like, switch your orientation, which I did. And anyway, it didn't work. Sometimes technology is just weird. So I'm just gonna go with it today. So I am gonna get a new lens. There's one. Good morning, Stephen. Hey, you'll have to tell me, did you ever end up working on those, was it a pair of nightstands? You have to tell us what you're working on. So are you working, or are you working on a project today? Or if you are just gonna work with me or just watch me work. Today, I'm going to be taking the finish off of a nightstand, or not nightstand, a coffee table. So that's what I'm working on today. But you'll have to tell me where you're watching from, and how's your weather? My weather has been beautiful. We are in the middle of the United States. I'm in Oklahoma, and we have really hot summers, but it's been beautiful. It's been like in the 70s. And so it's definitely below normal. And so, I don't know. I'm just enjoying it because I work out in the garage. And so, um, let's see here. Gray Wolf, good morning. Good morning to you. Sean, you're from England at work. Sorry. Well, I'm at work too, just I'm live. Purple looks so good on you. That is so funny you say that because I think this is the only purple shirt I own. I don't wear purple. I need to get my colors done. Orlando, Florida, and it's been rainy. Oh, yes. Rainy, rainy. Stevenson, Tyler. Oh, lots of people here. So, you're learning from me. Awesome. Well, I'm going to be using, I use non-toxic strippers and for furniture because I know a lot of people like to use clean strip or something like that, but it is so strong. I just can't use it. And so my room is right inside. And so if I use it, then we can smell the fumes all night. And so I've just really gotten away from using the real toxic strippers. And I've gone to I have 3 favorites. So I use Greenies, I use Dumond makes one and it's called Smart Strip. I think I like the Advanced is the one I like. And then another one that I like that I found at Ace Hardware is Blue Bear. It's a soy-based stripper, and it works really good too. So yes, you have to let them wait a little bit longer to do their thing, but you know what? I'm okay. And I think it's okay just to kind of, be a little safer is to use the non-toxic ones. So does anybody have any questions before I get started? You guys are doing some strange comments. I don't think you're here for furniture refinishing. That's okay though. This is what we're gonna do today is, Virginia, you're in your patio in California. Ooh. Okay, so we are going to start on this project. Actually, before we start, let me turn around and I'm gonna show you the projects that I'm working on. I got a couple over the weekend that I'm working on. And, all right, so this is what we're gonna be working on today. This is a coffee table. It is a can paint style. It has the brass accents. I've already taken all of those off. This is what we're stripping today. Has 4 drawers there. This is a cherry dresser, solid cherry. I have already stripped the whole thing. Here are the drawers. They are super, super red. And so I don't want this red. Nobody likes red anymore. I don't even really like red. And so I'm going to I'm going to cancel it with either a green or pewter. And so I think this will be, I'm kind of thinking green because they're opposite on the color wheel, red and green. So whatever's opposite on the color wheel, that's what's going to cancel it. So red, opposite of red is green. So I think I'm going to do this first. But I'll probably do it like I've been sanding over here. I think I'm going to do it over here on the side first just to test it. And then Greenies sent me a stain, and they have soy-based stains. And this is, they have all kinds of fun colors. If I had had the green, I could use this to cancel it. But this one is Amazonia bark. And so you can tell it's kind of a light color. And so I need something kind of coolish, like a cool color to cancel some of that. So here's their stripper. This is Greenies. This is their low odor paint stripper, finish stripper. I use this one a lot. And then this is not the one I always use, but this is the one I could get on Amazon. But this one is by Dumond, and this is Smart Strip. I usually use their other one that I believe is Smart Strip Advanced or Smart Strip Pro, and it's a really good one too. So those are the 2 ones I picked up this weekend. And then my daughter Kate, she's going to be working on these nightstands. This is a pair of nightstands. I've stripped the top. If you've been here the last few weeks, you know this is the burlwood one. So the finish on the top was failing. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to strip the top and the sides and then redo those, and then I'll just do gentle on this. So obviously you can see I've got some discoloration. This was all hardware. And then, gosh, I'm still plugging along on the bookcase. I'm going to try to prime the base today. So this one was the one for my husband. I'm still working on it. I've just not gotten very far. This cherry one came with a mirror, and so I am working on getting the mirror. I stripped it yesterday. There was a date on it too. Sometimes if you look at the back of a mirror, you'll find the date. And so I put it over here. Don't see, you can't see it, but this is the mirror, and it was 1956 is when this set was made. Now, not necessarily always. People tell me sometimes the glass isn't always the exact same date, but a lot of times it's pretty close. And so obviously it's a dresser from the mid 50s, but solid cherry. This one is Georgetown Galleries, which I've actually never heard of. So pretty cool. But we're gonna go ahead and get set up here and start on this one. So these are my supplies. Actually, I guess before I do it, let me show you what I'm using. So this is what I do when I strip a finish. Obviously, I've already put the stripper on, and it's been on there for probably an hour and a half. What I'll do first is I have this carbide scraper. Now, this can really gouge the wood, so you have to be really careful. And I use it more as like a putty knife, but I like it because it kind of gives me that ergonomic control, and so I like it. This little guy is a pocket scraper, and so it'll help me get into like some of these areas here. And then I have a soft brass brush, and this will also help me get into some of those details. And then once I dab that, then I'll use paper towels to pull off some of the junk, and then I will use steel wool. I use 2-watt steel wool, and then I'm going to get some acetone, and that will be how I strip the finish off. So I like to put my acetone, I didn't get it out earlier because it will evaporate. So I just put my acetone in like a little jelly jar, and then that way I can put my brush in it or my steel wool, and then that's how I strip my finishes. So I like to do it by the garage door. The acetone's not super strong, but I will use like a little mask here just to have some extra protection. All right, so I think I'll start on the top first. And if you have any questions as I go, just put them in the chat and I will answer them. After I'm going to do the top, and then I'll take a break and answer any questions. Top is done. And it didn't take that long. So the last step I did, you saw I did the spray. This is an after wash that they make from Greenies. And so I've been doing that lately, just as kind of like my final step, spray it on, wipe it off. And then my last step is using the lint-free paper towels. That seems to do good because that way I don't have all the extra lint. But you can see, looks really good. I mean, that's not gonna need much sanding. This had a fly speck finish. And so, gosh, the wood underneath it is gorgeous. And so I'm not sure what I'll restain it. Might maybe go with an antique brown. I'm not sure, but man, that's beautiful. Really, really nice. So I'm gonna continue. Does anybody have any questions before I continue? This is 4 sides, so I've got to do all of them, and then I've got to do the drawers too. The thing with it is you gotta paint it. Silly, we don't paint beautiful wood, but I'm going to restain it, but I'll have to strip it, sand it, and then I will figure out a stain. I don't know. So I'm gonna continue on if you don't have any real questions. Oh, okay. I'll put you on this side. I'm gonna tilt it up. I find things easier to work on if I can kind of get to them. Okay, here we go. Now again, I gotta go this direction this time because that way I wanna go with the grain. Whew. Okay, let me take a break, answer any questions. I've got two sides down. Um, you make it look easy. Well, I don't know. It's just the product, once you let it set long enough, it kind of does it for you. So yes, that is steel wool. For those just joining me, let me go over my, hang on, let me turn my fan down. Okay, if you're just joining me, this is what I'm using. I'm using greenies. The thing with greenies and any non-toxic strippers, you just gotta let it set a little bit longer. This probably set for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, probably more like an hour and a half. I put it on, went for a bike ride. You know, you just kind of go do other projects and let it do its thing. Then what I do is I use my carbide scraper first. You can see it's coming off really easy. And then I'll use, this is a soft brass brush. Comes in a pack. I like it because it has that little tip to kind of get into, you saw, I can get into those little grooves. And then I'm using 2/0 steel wool is what I'm using. Grade, this is 200. And then this is actually Greenies. I know it's in the QCS bottle, but this is actually Greenies is after wash. And so then I use that at the very end with some blue shop towels that are lint free. That way it's not, you know, got lint all over it from my paper towels. So I've got two sides done. This is beautiful. It's turning out really good. Sometimes I have to be careful. Don't set your acetone or anything on your pieces because my gosh, sometimes it'll give you like little rings. So I have a bad habit sometimes of setting my stuff there. So I'll go back over with that, get that off. It's weird how little things you can set places and it can really affect your wood. So be careful not to set stuff there. All right, I've got two sides done. I'm gonna continue because this is finished on all sides. So if you don't have any more questions, I will continue here. I try to just kind of scoop up some of it with paper towels. I used to kind of put out plastic, but I don't know. I just find that I just go slow, pick up the residue as I come across it, and just seems to be easier for me. Okay, I know it is beautiful. This is a fly speck finish, and so, you know, it's that weird finish that they did back in probably, I don't know, 60s, 70s. You can see all those little fly specks. I find this so much in pieces, but you see the beautiful wood underneath it. So, got me thinking. I'm not sure what color I'm gonna go with, but it's exciting because it's so beautiful. All right, let's work on this side. So you can see it's starting to dry. So that's the only problem with strippers. You gotta keep them, you gotta get to them before they dry out. I can reactivate it if I need to, which I haven't even done the drawers over there. So I may have to put another layer of stripper on, but that's why I try to kind of work in sections, you know, like on the dresser that I did the other day. All I did was the drawers and the base. I didn't even try to do the body the same day because it's just hard to time it. You have to kind of stagger when you put it on. So it's kind of interesting sometimes, especially using the non-toxic strippers. This is my pocket scraper. This helps me get into these little areas. I find you can sand off grain, I read, and fine woodworking about 7 degrees. So I figure if you can sand 7 degrees off grain, then scraping seems to work that way too. So if I go just a tad off center, and I can kind of get in there and get those areas a little bit better. Okay, let me see if I can get some of that with my brush. Okay, you can tell I'm having to work on this one a little bit more. I don't know if it's because it's dried or is it a little bit different finish? I don't know. But it's coming with the brush and the acetone and the steel wool. I'll get it. Okay. So little corners like this, if that dries, that's going to be a beast to try to sand because I've got things going this direction, wood going this direction. So I'm going to do my best to get all of this off with acetone. There we go. So just gonna take a little bit more effort on some of these. I don't know, like I said, I'm not sure why this particular side gave me some problems, but you can see I've still got a little bit right here. This is harder to sand because the rest of them didn't have this piece, this trim piece right here. And so I can sand off the edge, but this one will be a little bit more difficult to sand down here. So I got to make sure I get as much of that finish down here as possible because that will be a little bit harder to get to. So I just kind of flood it with some acetone and get my paper towel in there. And there we go. That looks pretty good. The base is black, and I think I'm going to keep it black. I'll probably just resand it, fill in any imperfections, and then repaint it black. But here we go. There's that side. Okay. It's getting hot. Let's take a break. Actually, it's 11. Wow. That went fast. Okay. Give me just a second. I still have one more side to do, but I will catch up on comments here. See if there's any questions. I still have the drawers and I have the cubby area for the drawers. All right, let's go back here and see if I missed anything. I know, Lori, welcome. Where did you buy the tool with the knob? I got that on Amazon. I will, after the live is over, I'll link everything down in the description. When I'm through with, there's one more tool I didn't show you. Let me show it to you, hang on. When I'm through with everything, I make sure I clean everything really good, obviously. And then I sharpen my tools again. I found this also on Amazon. And so I take my blades off. I use the 400 and I sharpen them on here. So after every time I use my carbide scrapers, I clean them and I sharpen them, because that way they're ready to go by the time, you know, I'm ready to do another piece. The brand is Bahco. Bahco is the name of the brand. That's the one I use. Let me see here. What do you think is going on? Hi, Anya. Good to see you. I know comments are crazy today. I don't know why. Why acetone? It takes the varnish away. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to strip the finish. So the stripper, I use the combination with the furniture stripper, and then after that I use the acetone, and it's a great stripper for the remaining residue that's on there. You can see the acetone just melts it away. And so that's why I use it. There's other things you can use, but my goal when I'm stripping a piece is I try to get as much of the finish off as possible, because it reduces my sanding time. So I know some people, they don't like to strip, they just like to go right to sanding, but I like it. I don't mind putting the furniture stripper on and then making my life easier, because I've kind of got a rhythm down, and that's kind of how I do it. And so everybody's different. Everybody has to find their own way of what works for them. But I find that this works for me. If the finish is really old and dry and it's just flaking off, like sometimes I'll test it with my carbide scraper before. Like let's say it's a flat surface. I have just used my carbide scraper and just you know, use that to scrape the finish off. And then the nice thing about that is then you can sand and honestly restain the same day, because you're not introducing any liquid, you know, from the chemical stripper. So, because I'll have to let this dry overnight before I can start sanding it. And so time-wise, you know, if you have a finish that, or a piece that's flat and easy, like this one behind me is a curved French provincial. I'm not gonna try to use my carbide scraper on that. That's just too much work. I just do the chemical stripper on it. So anyway, that's what I got accomplished today. So I feel good about that. But that's it for the live. So I'll just continue working, and eventually you'll see this piece on my page. You'll see a video of it. But I will link everything up in the notes down below, in the descriptions, or, you know, if maybe maybe in the descriptions or in the comments. And so hopefully it was helpful, and I appreciate you joining me, and I'll see you next time.